Hello everybody, I'm Ajit K. Mishra, your course instructor for Essential Life Skills. I'm here again with a very important session on thinking skills. This time I'm going to walk you through the world of creative thinking, its various components, its relevance and its importance. Creative thinking is the ability to consider something in a new way, a way people have not thought about in the past. People who can think creatively and bring new perspectives to the workplace have an advantage over others. And that's the reason why it is one of the most sought after skills in the prospective employees today. Creative thinking means thinking outside the box in conjunction with lateral thinking. Lateral thinking, which is the ability to perceive patterns that are not obvious. Creative thinking has the potential to attain even the unimaginable and the unthinkable. And that's the reason why creative thinking is so very important. Creative thinking devises new ways to carry out important tasks, solve tricky problems, and meet big challenges. It brings a fresh and sometimes unorthodox, unconventional perspective to how we approach our everyday tasks. This way of thinking helps organizations raise the productivity bar. That's why creative thinking is so very important. In order to understand creative thinking very well, it's very important that we first start with the creative types. I'm going to talk about the creative types that have come up on the basis of a test that was developed by Adobe in collaboration with others. 8 core creative types have been identified as a result of this test that was conducted. Artist, thinker, adventurer, maker, producer, dreamer, innovator, and visionary. So let's take a look at each of these creative types in a detailed manner. The artist. The artist creative type is a person who is filled with ideas and visions and driven by the need to create. And that's the reason why they are called artist types. They are absolutely fearless in creative expressions and in coming up with works that inspire truly and speak to others. Such creative type people have an aesthetic orientation which is usually directed towards working alone, and artists are most compatible with producers, because if I have a strong idea, a strong vision, if I have a very good aesthetic orientation, I'll definitely need a producer who will channelize that particular energy. The second type of thinking or creative thinkers are the producers. The producer is the exemplary doer. They believe in action. They do, carry out, perform actions. And they know how to balance productivity with purpose. And they also combine creativity and realism with a let's go and do it attitude. Because they believe in channelizing, they believe in completing the task. That's why they are productive types or producer types. They are goal-oriented, result-driven, and they possess a very strong work ethic. They believe in work ethic. They don't believe in procrastinating or delaying their action because they are oriented towards productivity, results, and goals. They remain calm and focused amid challenges. These types, the producer types, get along very well with the dreamer types. Let's take a look at the next type, the dreamer type. The dreamer is a quintessential idealist. They believe in creating big visions, big ideas. They're very emotional, empathetic, intuitive, and have a very vivid, rich imagination. Dreamers possess a great inner world because they believe in being absolutely immersed in their thoughts, feelings, and fantasies. They can see the hidden meanings, symbols, and the ideas that most others generally tend to ignore or cannot see. Such types, the dreamer types, have a potential to turn dreams into reality, especially when they come in contact or they begin to collaborate with the innovators. So let's take a look at the innovator type of creative thinkers. Innovators are referred to as pioneers or trailblazers. They lead the path, they show the path, they show the direction. And they thrive on generating ideas and coming up with innovative solutions to problems at hand. They constantly think of new, better ways of doing things, and they are not afraid of changes and adaptation. They're very, very flexible, open-minded that way. So innovators can fight their way into the future if they begin to collaborate or team up with the makers, the maker type of creative thinkers. So let's take a look at the maker type. Makers are strong, focused, and dedicated. A maker is very keen on solving problems, reaching the goals, and completing projects or tasks. So they generally develop tools, systems, and structures that often people use or people can use. Makers are usually quiet types because they reflect a lot on their activities, and they often prefer to work alone. The maker can form a very ideal combination or collaboration with the visionary type. So let's take a look at the visionary type. Visionaries believe that the world is full of infinite possibilities and they see the potential almost everywhere. So they are the ones who can derive something out of absolutely nothing. They're very optimistic in their approach. So they like to push their limits. And at the same time, they also know how to observe or maintain a balance between intuition and rational action. It's not that they are visionaries, therefore they are dreamers. They are always lost in their imagination. No. They know how to strike a fine balance between intuition and rational action. They are charismatic, very expressive, and they always are eager to share ideas with others and taking ideas from others as well. Visionaries become more effective when they team up with thinkers. So let's take a look at the thinker type of creative thinkers. The thinker type, they're always seeking opportunities to learn, discover, and quench their seemingly insatiable thirst for learning and knowledge. They have a very active inner world and they can find meaning, make connections, and come up with new ideas. The thinkers can collaborate with the adventurers, and when that happens, they can bring great ideas to life. So let's take a look at the adventurer type of creative thinkers. The adventurers are very, very passionate, enthusiastic, expressive, and full of creative energy. The adventurers have a seemingly insatiable curiosity. They're very curious about everything. And that's the reason why they believe to go out on an exploration without knowing anything that they might come across. All they believe in is finding new things. They're not easily satisfied with just ideas. Rather, the adventurers like to act and pursue things. It's not that an adventurer sees the horizon from a distance and becomes very, very happy. The adventurer would like to go beyond the horizon. First, reach the horizon, see what it is, what lies here, and then look beyond the horizon to find out what lies beyond it. The adventurer is also a very fast learner, and such people share creative expressions with others. The adventurers can collaborate greatly with the artist, and that creates a loop. In a way, it becomes a cycle. We'll come back to the artist again, and then from artist we'll go to the producers, the makers, and so on, the thinkers, and then we'll again come back to the adventurers, and this cycle will continue. It's all about developing the right kind of thinking skills, especially the right kind of creative thinking skills in us. Adobe's study or test has been instrumental in telling us that we have at least one of these creative thinking type within each one of us. All that we need to know or realize is that we have a certain type of creative thinker sitting well inside us. The first task is to find out this creative thinker. Once we are able to do so, we can think of collaborating with different types of creative thinkers. If I'm an artist, I can think of collaborating either with the maker, the producer, or the adventurer. If I'm an adventurer, I can think of collaborating with the artist and various other types of creative thinkers. When that happens, I'll actually be in a position to do some realistic creative thinking. Creative thinking is not just about being able to imagine about things. Sometimes people confuse creative thinking with wild imagination. Let me tell you that wild imagination is not creative thinking, because it will not take you anywhere. It will not lead you anywhere. And that's the reason why wild imagination will not help. Creative thinking must also be based on something that is manageable and that is quite possible. So it's very, very important that we understand what creative thinking is all about, so that we can develop the right kind of creative thinking skills in us. I'm talking about creative thinking skills in such great detail because this is one of the most looked for skills in the prospective employees today. Most employers today look for this particular ability in their employees. The reason is we have to do a lot of thinking. And it is not just thinking. It has to be one type of thinking, and that type of thinking is based on the kind of role, the thinking role that we perform in a certain team, in an organization. Whether it is an analyst or a critical thinker or a creative thinker. So we must realize that thinking in some of these forms is very, very important. So creative thinking, which happens to be one of the most sought after skills today, is something that we all need to cultivate in us. And that's the reason why I'm talking about creative thinking in such detail. That's all for this session. When I meet you again with a new session, I'll be talking about some more very important aspects of creative thinking, which I'm sure will help you explore and expand your creative thinking abilities. Until then, bye-bye.